how to turn what you know into what you earn. My name is JT O'Donnell. I'm the founder and CEO of Work It Daily and the ProVoice Talent Agency. I'm so excited to be doing this today. If you've been following me on social media, you know that I'm about to reveal to you 4 years worth of work. And it's amazing timing because at the time that I'm recording this, it's September 24th, 2025. It's pretty doom and gloom out there. The job market's bad. There's a lot going on, but there's actually also something very exciting happening that nobody's talking about. So I get to talk about that today. And I think if I do my job right, every single person will leave this session today realizing that they could be taking advantage of this very cool thing that's happening, that you can monetize your mind, and that you can create a lot more happiness in your life, especially when it comes to your work and career. That's the goal today. So before I get started, a couple of things housekeeping wise. I have a bunch of things to give to you at the end. So stay to the end to get some of the exciting things that you're getting as bonuses. If you can't stay to the end, don't worry. You signed up, so I'm going to be sending you the recording. Just make sure you go watch the recording so that you can grab those special bonuses. And of course, I'm going to leave a ton of time for questions at the end. So please know that there'll be plenty of time for you to ask questions. There's a chat going there. In fact, let's just make sure that the chat's working okay. Can I get a howdy or hello and have you maybe tell me where you're dialing in from? I would love to see that here in the comments. That way I know that everything is working just fine. While that's happening, though, I'm going to jump right into it because we do have an awful lot to cover. So the first thing that I want to do is tell you my story pretty quickly. If you haven't followed me on social media, you might not know that I was in the staffing and recruiting industry for many years. In fact, up until 2001, I was an executive. I ran a $35 million division of a company, which if you can imagine, that's 20 years ago. So you can imagine how big that would be today. I had a very large staff. I had a big six-figure salary and a car allowance and an expense account. And I tell you all these things because I was miserable in spite of doing what they told me to do. And, I guess breaking through the glass ceiling as a woman, I was pretty unhappy. I had a new house I was never in. I had a husband I never saw. I was pretty out of touch with family and friends. I always tell the story, I own to this, that I remember finding a note on my desk from my assistant saying your mom called and it was a week old. Like it just had consumed my life, but I was doing what society told me to do. And so all of a sudden there was a sort of a miracle moment in my life, if you will, where I was on maternity leave, fully expecting to go back to my corporate job to keep running it. I'm holding this beautiful baby girl in my arms with these enormous blue eyes. And it hits me that I am her teacher in life and that she's going to take all her cues from me. She's going to be able to read between the lines. And I don't like me. I don't like this life. I don't like me. How did I get here? And so the decision was made, joint decision, my husband and I, that I would choose me and that I would go back and figure it out because I couldn't understand how I could be in my early 30s and be this far off track. And what I realized was I felt very golden handcuffed. How many of you feel the golden handcuffs? What I mean by that is you're trapped in the one job, you need the pay and the benefits, this false sense of job security, and that I always had to have that job. And if I didn't, there was something wrong with me. This was the moment where I decided I never wanted to feel that way again. I wanted to break free of those handcuffs and I wanted to create skill security. I wanted to create a way that I could always have an income and it was never with just one company. Saying all the eggs in one basket. I didn't want that anymore. And so that's when it all shifted for me because I'm an engineer by degree. And so naturally, I decided I'm going to go figure this out. So I go back and I start looking for resources to teach me how to build this life that I really want for myself. And I can't find them. I can't find them anywhere. And so I start thinking about myself and what I most enjoyed doing while I was in corporate America. And ironically, it turned out I loved helping other people leave their job and get a new job. I was literally known in my company as the person you went to, the one executive you could go to and say, I think I'm going to quit the company. And I would help them because I knew somebody probably wanted their job and I could backfill them. I just had this sense. And so I had built up some of these skills. So here I was trying to figure it out for myself. But the one thing I knew how to do was help others. So I decided to get a certification in coaching and start a private practice and see where it went. In 2001, the way I started making money, multiple income streams, was one, consulting for my former employers, and two, starting to do the career coaching and building a methodology. So the consulting funded my ability to build out this coaching model and write a book. And that book became my methodology. Fast forward to 2007, I am now so busy I can't take a vacation. And the recession's coming, the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. and I see an opportunity to build this at scale. So I lean in and I build a website and a blog and a community. And the idea of creating a career coaching platform for all is born. I'm going to find a way to scale this because if more people knew and understand these things, they could have more independence, more freedom if they knew how to take more control of their career. By 2016, social media is really hitting. So I am leaning into LinkedIn. I eventually leaned into TikTok. And I now today have 2.5 million followers on LinkedIn, another 600,000 newsletter subscribers on that platform, and 1.2 million followers on TikTok. So obviously started to figure out, okay, I know how to do this content at scale. I know how to build revenue streams for myself, trading my knowledge at scale. This is pretty exciting. And someone says to me, and this is a true story, someone says to me back then, yeah, JT, but you know what? You're like different. Like other people can't do this. It's you know, it's fine for you, but most people can't do what you do. And I'm not one to be told that. Like someone says to me, "Hey, you are the only type of person that can do this." I'm thinking anyone can do this. I'm a mom from New Hampshire. Anyone can do this. And so once I was told that, I said, "That's it. I'm going to prove that anyone can learn how to do this. Absolutely anyone can learn how to do this." And so that was the journey 4 years ago. I started on a mission. I started quietly pulling people out of our Work It Daily program, particularly people that I knew wanted more for themselves, that they didn't want the golden handcuffs, that they wanted to find ways to monetize their knowledge in multiple streams. And so doing this afforded me that opportunity to say, okay, I can figure every step of this out and then teach the world. And that is what I've been doing for the last 4 years. 4 years of my life trying to prove that it can be done. And it's been done. And I get to show you so many examples today of how people have gone from no visibility, no presence, being trapped in the job to pivoting themselves to what they want, taking full control, and creating that, we call it the ProVoice lifestyle that they want and deserve. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, especially with some of the exciting developments, particularly in this last year, that has made it possible for me to help anyone at any age, at any skill level, to be able to monetize their mind. So I'm going to stop there and say, does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, is that making sense? Awesome. I'm so excited. So if that makes sense to you, give me a big yes in the chat. That always makes me happy. And we will keep going from there. Okay. So the next thing I want to kind of talk about is that in order to make this jump, you need to understand that your mind is an asset. All right. It's really important that you understand that your mind is an asset. And what I mean by that is that this knowledge is yours. It only gets better with time. The more time you spend in your job, the more skills you amass, you have this thing that can be utilized in many different ways. And the problem is that society has convinced us that there's only one way to use it. This was the big thing that I learned. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is a big deal. See, they want you to believe that you have to have a full-time job with benefits, or, who are you? Like, are you unemployable? What does that mean? But the truth is, they're the ones really winning the game. See, they give you a salary. Maybe you work 40 hours a week, maybe you work 60 hours a week, whatever it is. And you get that set money and you feel safe, you feel secure, right? Job security. But what if they make 10 times that amount off of what you did, or 100 times that amount, or 1,000 times off that? Do you get that money too? I mean, maybe they built in a little bonus structure, but the reality is the company's really making out on you. But you need that security, or so you believe you need that security. What they don't want you to know is that there are ways for you to monetize your knowledge and work with multiple organizations so that you can make way more money in less time. And I'm going to give you a beautiful example of that. I had a client. He got laid off from his job. He's a mechanical engineer. He went in and restructured the division of a company. And once it was all restructured and humming and working beautifully, they let him go because they're like, oh, your salary is too expensive. We don't need you now. So he goes out and he gets himself the same exact type of job. A different company, same problem, spends 18 months fixing their problem. And what do? They lay him off again. Oh, we don't need you anymore. So he comes to me and says, why does this keep happening? And I said, because all it is a project. There's no full-time, long-term job there for you anymore. You have this knowledge. Let's flip it on its ear and let's make you a lot more money. So we showed him how to become a fractional employee doing what he did for these companies. Now he works 2 days a week, making the same money he was making in a full-time job as a fractional consultant to these organizations that don't need him 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week, right? They only need him 8 to 10 hours a month. He has a couple of companies he does this for. He works 2 days a week. He mountain bikes, he skis, and he does all these other things the rest of the week, making the same money he was making for. That's what you're looking for. I mean, he's spent all those years building this knowledge. Why couldn't he pivot? And the only reason he couldn't pivot is because nobody introduced the idea to him. And that's just one way, folks. There are so many different ways for you to be able to monetize your mind. We're going to look at that today that work for you and your lifestyle. But until you even consider that or imagine it, it's not going to happen for you because you're just going to consider the only way to work is the traditional way to work, right? Where you trade your time for money. I want to trade your knowledge for money. Let me just quick show of hands here. If you could solve a problem that was worth $20,000 to a company, but it only took you 2 hours to solve, would you do it? Would you just work the 2 hours and take the $20,000? Of course you would. That's trading knowledge for money. That is a more scalable model of you. It's a better use of your time and your energy, and it's going to feel a lot more satisfying. So this is what we're all shooting for, what we're all trying to learn and do going forward. And the good news is there's a pretty big incentive for you to do it. It's called the second renaissance. How many of you have heard about the second renaissance? Anyone? Because it's a really big thing right now. The second renaissance is pretty huge. And it's really a digital renaissance. What they mean by that is that everything is AI, digital, internet is lowering the barriers to entry. And the fact that you can be discovered anywhere globally by anybody. So that means if you stop thinking of yourself as this employee who has to go find a job with local companies, and instead you think of yourself as a business of one who has a service to provide and could potentially provide a whole different type of service to companies all over the world, now it gets exciting, right? So you start tapping into your creativity. The Renaissance era was all about people learning and growing and creating and sharing with one another. And that's happening right now. And it's exploding. And we're going to look at the data to support that. But it really is about you being able to sell outcomes, sell the benefits of working with you and not your time. And that is, I think, what most people on here want, especially when you think about the pandemic. I think the pandemic opened up a lot of eyes. People worked from home and said, I never want to go back. But now what are we watching happen? Companies are forcing people back. Companies are cutting headcount. I mean, at the time I'm recording this, the unemployment market is terrible. Companies continue to lay off. The reality is companies want less employees, not more. They would rather replace you with AI because employees are expensive and they're unreliable. AI is cheap and consistent. And so you're going to see a big shift here. We're going to have to find other ways to make money because there's just going to be far fewer jobs. You can keep competing for jobs. There's just going to be fewer of them. And with so many people competing for them, what happens? The price they're willing to pay you goes down. I would ask all of you here today, how many of you are seeing the salary, they call them salary bands, of what you used to make just a couple of years ago versus what they're paying now? They're all going down in all types of jobs, especially white collar jobs. And that's because companies know they have you. So if you break free of that and say, wait, no, I'm going to figure this out a different way, you can open yourself up to be making more money, not being forced to take less. Now, this Renaissance era, I'm going to give you a beautiful example of it. And it literally came up yesterday in the New York Times. I couldn't believe it. I was getting ready for this. This presentation was all done, and up comes Brianna. I happen to follow Brianna on TikTok. She's the feature story in the New York Times. She has been doing essentially like stand-up comedian type videos of homes that she's selling in Florida. She's a real estate agent in Florida. If you know anything about the real estate market in Florida, it's not so good right now. And she's going in, making fun of the homes, making fun of the people that might buy the homes, just doing kind of comedy stand-up skits about it. And these videos are going super viral. Now, let's talk about how she's using her knowledge, her skills, her unique abilities. Obviously, she's funny. I know a lot of you are going to say right now, well, I'm not funny. That's okay. I'm going to show you other things. But she is producing videos that are getting views. She's getting paid for the views, right? She's likely getting brand deals. She's definitely getting more real estate listings because she's getting more eyeballs on those so that more people are checking them out, right? She's building this brand for herself with multiple income streams and an asset. Remember what I keep saying about assets? This brand of hers, she's treating herself as a business and an asset that's only getting bigger and better and stronger. And as she does this, I can tell you from experience, people will start knocking on her doors. Things she could have never even dreamed of, partnership deals and brand deals and opportunities are going to come to her because today, folks, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. The biggest mistake we make when we take that one job is that we outsource our visibility. Our employer takes it away from us. The only people that know the kind of work we do is our employer. So when it's time to go get a new job, when they lay you off or fire you, who knows about you? And in a competitive job market, how do you stand out? Well, when you finally understand how to build visibility for yourself, and again, it doesn't have to be, stand-up comedic videos, but when you learn the right way, which I'm going to show you shortly, you now take control of your visibility. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. You get strangers contacting you with the better opportunities. And, I practice what I preach. This whole business model that I built in New Hampshire, raising two children, right, has come from embracing the idea that it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And I would even change that to it's not who you know, it's who you serve. Because my whole platform and all the platforms that I teach my clients are about serving others. It's not about being narcissistic. It's not about asking desperate or cringy. It's about serving others. And through that service, they get to know and see and understand your value. And that's what we're talking about. Because if you don't do this going forward, you are invisible, especially when we start to look at job search. We'll talk about it a little bit here on tools like LinkedIn. Okay, is that making sense, everybody? Excellent. All right. So let's keep this going and talk about that. It's not just me saying it. There's an entire group of businesses out there like Gartner and some of the biggest analytics companies in the world that are saying this is a huge economy. So right now, the creator economy, as we know it, is a $205 billion economy. In 2 years, it's going to be a $480 billion. And by 2033, it's literally going to be a $1.35 trillion economy. What economy means, if you don't know, is that it feeds itself. So if you think of all these businesses of one, you're a business of one, everyone on here is a business one. If you all start monetizing what you know and sharing and serving one another, everyone feeds each other. That's why they're saying this is growing at such a huge rate. And, it's not just me saying it. I don't know how many of you follow people like Gary Vee. He's been talking about this for years, but I think only now are people starting to understand its reality because it's possible for the white collar worker. It's possible for somebody who wasn't, shaking a booty on TikTok or wanting to sell affiliate products or wanting to do Amazon drop shipping. If you want to just really use your knowledge, monetize your mind, it is now possible, especially just in the last year. And that's why they're seeing such a massive amount of growth and why you want to take advantage of it. Here's the one thing I do want to say. The people that tap into this earlier, they call it tip of the coral, like at the front of the wave, they end up cashing in and making the most. If you go look at social media platforms, for example, the people that are the most successful often just were early adopters. So the reason I'm so excited after 4 years of working on this is that the timing's right. What I'm going to show you today, it's here, it's now, it's happening, which means you can start monetizing your mind, not a decade from now, not a year from now, but right now because of this. And that gets me super excited. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you a story about how I really knew that this was meant to be. It's the beginning of this year, 2025. I'm over 3 years into this, and I am saying the only thing that is missing is my ability to take anyone and show them how to start monetizing immediately. So, up until now, if I could teach you how to unlock your potential, figure out how you wanted to market yourself, figure out what you wanted to sell, and get that all ready, and I've been able to do that successfully. The only last piece was how do I get you out visible to people so that you can start getting total strangers knocking on your door? And the problem with that is that up until now, if you wanted to do what I do, you had to buy a lot of technology. It's probably going to cost you $2,000 to $3,000 a month to have all the technology that I have today for my company for you to be able to do it. And that was just too much of a barrier for most people, especially when you're not going to make that kind of money like day one, right? Did you have that money to burn? And it really frustrated me because I thought, why is the technology not there yet? Why are we not able to take these really interesting, smart professionals and monetize them instantly? So I go on a quest, you know me, and I start looking for the technology. And I come across this technology called OnlyFans this year. Now, many of you know what OnlyFans is, but for those of you that don't, it's a site where creators can share their information and you can pay to get content from them, to direct private message them, that sort of thing. It's a very sophisticated piece of technology. The challenge is the founder of it, Tim Stokely here, he built it. When he built it, it was still very early on in this world of creator. And so they were looking to gain followers and build the company. And the company ended up exploding in what they call the spicy market, meaning the people that were using OnlyFans did more spicy content. And it quickly went out of their control because that's where the money was. And OnlyFans got branded and known as this spicy site for content creators, which makes it really difficult for people who want to not be spicy to be on the site to create content. And I will give you an example, because when I found the technology and I thought it was so cool, I went and set up an account and thought, great, I'm going to be able to use this for my clients. Let me set it up and let me test it, because I always test everything first to make sure it's going to work for you. Well, sure enough, it didn't. It's not that the technology didn't work. It's just that the clientele didn't want what I was offering. They wanted something different, which I wasn't willing to do. And so, not to be defeated, I went on LinkedIn. I found Tim Stokely and said a message to him. Hey, Tim, I like your technology, but I can't use it for what I'm doing. Could I white label this? Could I figure out a way to use this technology with my business? Because there's so many people out here that need it and need a way to get started without any startup costs. And thank goodness, Tim messaged me back and said, JT, you have uncanny timing. I'm going to email you and share something. And what I found out was that Tim had left the company that he built, OnlyFans, just a couple of years ago, and without a non-compete, wanted to do it all over again and really do what he wanted, which was create a platform for everyone else, right? Not spicy, but for anyone that had knowledge to share. And I'm so excited to say I learned about this earlier this year and worked with them, and they finally launched in May. And I am actually an ambassador to Subs. I work with Subs. I've met Tim and his team in London. They're exceptional. And I can tell you that they are all about helping all of us monetize what we know. It is so incredible. The technology is phenomenal. So much so that I went ahead and built it and tested. I told you I test everything. This is a screenshot I took this morning of my earnings in my Subs account. It is so easy for me to post and connect and support my clients. They can subscribe. They can private message me. I can create tools for them and documents for them all in here and charge. So if you've ever had somebody say to you, hey, can I pick your brain? Or can I use your advice? And you're like, gee, people ask me this a lot. I wish I could just charge a little something for it, right? Not a lot, but a little something for it, so I could make a living off it. That's Subs. That's what Subs does. And that's what I teach my clients, Subs, how to monetize Subs as well, which is just so incredibly exciting to me. So now that I'm an ambassador, first thing I'll do, and I'll send this to you afterwards, but you want to write this link down. If you want to learn how to become a creator on Subs with me, you can use this link, right? I'm an ambassador, so I would love it if you use the link, because it'll also tell me that you've signed up with me, and I'm able to message you and access you and start to show you how to do this. And like I said, Subs is the only platform out there like this that's free. You don't have to pay a subscription. It's free for you to use. They just take a percentage of what you sell. So this is a platform where you can share content publicly, like a social media tool, but also monetize it. As you can see here, this is a screenshot. I'm actually part of their Subs shows, and my clients also get access to this, where our videos get featured. And this is how people find you. Remember how I said it's not who you know, it's who knows you? Well, Subs is the first platform where you're going to be able to do that. So if you learn anything out of this session, it should be that you should grab this link and sign up for a creator account. See it up there in the yellow circle, because Subs is the future of how, and you'll want to claim your name, because Subs will be the future of how you can micro monetize. Meaning, if someone has a question and you know the answer, and it's just like a few seconds of you texting the answer, it can all be done through this private app, and you can start to monetize. It is so easy to use and implement. I'm teaching people how to do it every single day. And again, this is just one example of ways that you could be monetizing your mind. But I know from experience, this is going to be a big one. And you're going to be really glad that you set yourself up on Subs and got coached on how to use Subs, because this is going to become an incredible way for people like you to earn money. Okay. All right. So more on that, but let's keep going, because the way we make people successful is something called the G.L.O.W method. This is something that I built 20 years ago when I decided to become a career coach, because again, I'm a process girly. I like to understand things and make sure they're consistent and that we can be successful. So G.L.O.W method stands for gain perspective, illuminate the goal, own your actions, and work it daily. And you might notice that my company is named Work It Daily. And that's because that's the most important step in the process. We can figure out and give you the knowledge you need to know. We can dial in on what you want to make happen. We can set up the activities. But if we don't work it daily, and notice we're not called work it all day. I'm not saying all day long. But when we do consistent micro actions, that's what makes you successful. And so building a platform where I could make sure that people could be held accountable and work it daily and be motivated and be inspired so that they want to do this consistently, that was a big part of the last 3 years, is building a platform and getting ready for now, this last year, so that people could be winners, could succeed. So total of 4 years, 3 years of working through this. This last year was Subs, and here we are with the G.L.O.W method on tap. So quick overview of how it works. When you join Work It Daily, the first thing we do is help you gain perspective. So we inventory your skills, we pull out the stories out of you, we figure out your results, your reputation. We're really trying to understand what's unique about you. It's called your UVA, and I'm going to dive into that more in a minute. Then we figure out what problems you solve, what pain you alleviate, how you save or make companies money. Because remember, you're a service provider. They're only going to buy from you if you create value. So if you don't create value, that's not going to work, right? We've got to be able to dial in on that for you. And that can be really hard to see. Remember way back when I told you my own story? I could help other people, but I couldn't help myself. One of the big advantages we have is that we can see you in ways that you can't see yourself. And then we extract that proof, because you can say that you're certain things, but we have to be able to prove that you are those things. So that's the first step, is really inventorying you and understanding you. Then we illuminate the goal. Now, there's probably three types of people on this call today. The first type is somebody who's like, JT, I just need to get visible to recruiters. I need that full-time job with benefits. I hear what you're saying, but right now I'm in a critical stage and I need to get visible. Nothing's working. Anything I'm doing in job search, applying online isn't working. How do I get those hidden jobs that recruiters have? How do I get those recruiters knocking on my door? Right? So that might be one avenue we take you down. The second group are people who are like, yeah, I definitely want the job, but I also want to start to figure out other income streams. So, let's get me that new, better paying job, but then let's also figure out other ways that I can monetize this asset of mine so I can have multiple income streams. And then there's a third group of you on here that tend to be more executive level, who are or at the point where you're like, no, I'm that person. I want to monetize. I want to work far less hours and make the same money. I want to do fractional work. I want to do project work. I want to be a thought leader. I want to do those things that are going to help me work less hours, but really scale up all the knowledge that I have here. Right. So you have to ask yourself which one of those you are. When you work with us, we help you figure that out, because sometimes it can feel a little tricky, and maybe you're going to switch from one to the other, but we need to get clear on that because of this next step. The vast majority of people that I see really mess up or fail are the ones that haven't done the first two steps here. And instead they go out and just decide that they're going to write a book, or they're going to build a course, or they're going to do project work and become an independent contractor, or they're just going to start this type of company without giving any thought to who they are, what their strengths are, and what would work for them at this stage in their life. Because for some of you, that's just not a good move right now. That's a burning of cash. And for others, it's the exact right thing to do. So in the own your actions phase, we're going to productize you. We're going to figure out what you should be marketing about yourself, the ways you should be marketing yourself, what you should be selling out there, so that you can pick a lane and make sure that you're successful. In fact, this is the one thing that I wish I could have had all these years. I've had to do this all by myself. I've learned a lot along the way. But if there was one thing, because I've tried all the different things, right? I do have a book. I do have courses. I do have a community. I do speaking engagements. I have, a syndicated column. I have a lot of these different things. I have a good 20 different income streams right now. But I can tell you some are better than others. Some are easier to implement than others. And you really need to prioritize. And this is such a big part of what we do at Work It Daily, to make sure that you are choosing the right area, that you're owning the right actions. Because like I said, if we do this correctly, Work It Daily is 30 to 60 minutes a day. It's doing whatever the steps are to get you visible, right? And again, those will be customized based on what you're trying to achieve in order to get those results. It's not work it all day, it's work it daily. But if you're working the wrong things daily, it's not going to work. So this is the 4-step methodology that we take all of our clients through. And as I said, that first step is gaining perspective, has to do with unlocking your UVA. Now, how many of you heard me talk about this? If you follow me on social media, I do a lot around the subject of UVA, unique value add, because it's really important for you to unlock this. No two people here are the same. None of you have had the same jobs, the same skills, the same education, the same experiences. So we have to tap into that and brand you as unique. Now, you know that you're getting better at this, and this is my test to everybody, is if you can tell people what you do in 8 words. So you can see here, we call it the 1-sentence UVA. So I help blank achieve blank by blank. Might be one framework. You don't have to follow that. But when you can get really good at talking about yourself in about 8 words, you know that you're starting to dial in on your UVA. For example, I can tell you that I help people get new, better paying jobs. I help people make recruiters come to them, right? I can talk to you in very simple statements about the value that I create, that my company creates. But that doesn't just riff off the top of your head. You actually need to understand who you are, so that those 8 words that you choose are very impactful and are structured in a way that conveys the right answer. And so one of the ways that we've overcome that in Work It Daily is with the UVA report. So this is a private quiz. You can only access this as a special unique feature inside Work It Daily. Only our members can get access to this. And what it is a quiz that you take. And when it's done, it builds this huge report for you. And it tells you what your top workplace personas are. It tells you what your communication style is in the workplace. It tells you everything you need to know about who you are and the types of jobs you're going after and how you want to market yourself. How do you want to present yourself? We start all of our clients there, and I'll show it to you again. And this is a very unique tool. You can't get it anyplace else. Reports like this people charge $149, $249 for them. You get this tool when you choose to become part of Work It Daily. This is one of our bonus items that we give you. You can PDF it, you can download it, it's yours to keep forever. But it really is insightful into that foundation of who you are as a professional and how should we choose to leverage that about you. Because again, no two people here are the same. So once you've got your UVA, you're ready to build your ProVoice. And this is the thing that I've been saying 4 years of my life. In the end of April this year, I published the book, ProVoice, Turn What You Know Into What You Earn. This is the framework. So if nothing else today, you just want to go learn, it's on Amazon, it's on Kindle Unlimited, Audible, you can listen to it. It is going to help you understand everything that I've talked about today and the step-by-step framework for figuring it out. So if you're a DIY person, this book is going to be amazing for you because it's going to tell you how to validate your UVA. It's going to show you how to create clear and consistent authority, right, across your industry, across your skill set. And it's going to show you how to build that trust, right? It's not who you know, it's who knows you. And so the book is the foundation of our platform. And so our platform teaches everything in the book, but it also works with you. Our coaching team, myself, we work with you to be able to go through all 4 steps of the G.L.O.W method. We have live sessions all week long. Depending on what level you join us, you get unlimited coaching and support because we know how to take you from invisible to visible and attracting those right opportunities using this framework. So if nothing else, please know that every single person here, not only did you realize today you can monetize your mind, but every person here has a ProVoice. I don't care how old you are, you have a voice that can be used. It is uniquely yours. And when you learn how to monetize it, just think of that amazing young woman, Brianna. Anyone can do it once you start to figure it out and dial into it. All right, just want to remind you, here's why ProVoice wins. There's massive demand. What did we learn today? Massive demand for talent, huge creator economy coming, a knowledge economy coming, but more importantly, the algorithms reward you. So LinkedIn has 1.1 billion users on it. And for the vast majority of you, LinkedIn is going to be the new marketplace for you. It's going to be where recruiters find you. If you do not know how to set your profile up on LinkedIn and how to post correctly on LinkedIn, you are invisible. Recruiters will not find you with the algorithm. But if you do know how to do that and you're using your ProVoice, people are going to be knocking on your door. And I've got some pretty exceptional examples to show you what I mean. So let's take our first example, a job seeker to becoming in demand, right? So this is a typical one that we see people come in and join Work It Daily. They're like, I'm trying everything under the sun. I'm applying to 500 jobs. Nobody's calling me back. I'm getting ghosted. I'm doom scrolling. I'm miserable. How do I break this cycle? We'll show you how. So this is Steve. Steve came to me. He was part of my beta group in these last 4 years. He was a director at a company and he wanted a VP job. And the executive team flat out said, you know what? You're about 4 years away from that. We're not going to have any VP roles open up. You're about 4 years away. Well, he didn't want to wait that long. And so he came to me, and the problem was, like most people, he had outsourced his visibility. The only people knew the great work he did was his current employer, and they weren't planning to help him in any way. So we had to get him visible on LinkedIn. We had to teach him how to update his LinkedIn profile and start putting things in his LinkedIn feed. Now, because he was in SaaS and technology and he spoke multiple languages, these were some of the things that he really wanted to leverage in his next VP role. So we said, all right, you're going to do video. We're going to show you how to do videos where you can just talk about what you've learned and what you know. And through that knowledge, you're going to build an asset. Remember I said your assets here? You're going to build a library, a career asset library of yourself in your LinkedIn feed. And this is what he did. Now, once he had these, he was able to start knocking on the doors of the C-suites of the companies he wanted to be a VP for. We created a bucket list and he back-channeled. We taught him how to go and connect with them. And sure enough, he sent a message to one of the CEOs with a video, and the CEO responded back to him and said, you're speaking my language, let's get on the phone. They get on the phone, they have a very long call, and the CEO says, I like you, Steve, but we always promote VPs from within. So how would you feel about coming over as a director, making a lateral move, and in 6 months when the team sees you, we'll go ahead and promote you? Steve said no. And I supported him in that. And he said, no, I am leaving for a VP role. he said, all right, well, let's do this then. I'm going to give my staff your LinkedIn feed and your videos and your info and let them assess you. And sure enough, this team went, they all watched his videos and came back to the CEO and said, he definitely knows what he's talking about. He's the exact kind of guy we need, just like you saw. Go ahead and hire him as a VP. And that is how Steve moved from director to VP. He's also done that one more time since, because he is fully leaned into using his ProVoice. He gets inbound opportunities. He gets companies calling him to be a fractional consultant, all because his digital assets are just growing and growing over time. He's also made him a much better interviewer and presenter, because by launching and speaking your ProVoice and documenting your knowledge, you get better at talking about yourself in a way that doesn't feel, self-promotional. Again, so we're always taught to be humble. And so people tend to not be good interviewers because they don't know how to talk about themselves. We teach you how to use your ProVoice in a way that will benefit. So if that sounds like you, that's great. But then let me also show you the people that are taking it to the next level. I told you that after 4 years, I finally brought this out and made it public. Well, in May, I launched ProVoice Elite. ProVoice Elite is the program where people, particularly executives, work exclusively with me for me to build out their entire brand with them and then take them public. And so I'm happy to say, again, we've only been live with this program since May, that we've already had 70 people join and 23 graduates. And the rest are still in the works, right? It just, you go at your own pace, you get through the program and you graduate at your own pace. But we already have 23 people who are signed by the agency and are being represented by our company. And what I mean by that is that we now get them opportunities. We have brands coming to us and we get them opportunities. They are also featured across all of our social media and they are guests on our podcast. So we have a ProVoice podcast that goes out to literally millions of followers across all the major social platforms. And I'll show it to you here. We're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, all of them, YouTube. And so they're getting thousands of views. So we help them create their voice, help them figure out what they want. And now we are marketing them to the world and getting them their first deals and helping them monetize. And it's just very exciting to see, because as I said before, up until this year, there still wasn't a way to do that. And now there is. And so the Elite program is just so near and dear to my heart as I watch these people where I would have given anything to have these opportunities presented to me. I had to build it myself for 20 years. There's now a place where you can go, be part of a dynamic group of professionals, all walks of life. These are all amazing executive level professionals who are really showing what they know and doing that at scale. Awesome. So to recap, folks, there's a second renaissance. There's a huge movement. There's a $480 billion economy in the next 2 years. And all you need to do is use the G.L.O.W method, gain perspective, illuminate the goal, own your actions, work it daily, unlock your UVA, your unique value add, and tap into your ProVoice. The structure is there. I gave you the examples, and now I want to show you your next steps. And then I'm going to take some questions if we have some. So first of all, this is what I promised all of you. No matter what, whether you join Work It Daily today or not, I'm going to be sending you the visibility jumpstart sheet. This is what we have for everybody in our 7-day jumpstart. So when you join us, we have tutorials and live sessions and everything you need to jumpstart whenever you join the program. But I'm going to show you, this is how you get yourself more visible on LinkedIn to start. It's a whole simple strategy. We're very transparent. We're giving it away so that you can see the steps that you're going to need to take. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery, but it definitely is this situation where you want to understand the steps and do them in the right order. So we're going to be sending you this PDF so that each and every one of you has it. Okay. And then we're going to invite you obviously to join us. And so I want to show that to you really quickly because I told you there were 3 different paths. We have a standard membership. That's for that job seeker that really wants to get the 7-day jumpstart, wants to get visible on LinkedIn, and wants to learn how to have recruiters knocking on their door, right? We have templates, AI prompts for you to help get everything ready, a community, live Q&A sessions, everything you need to really just get to that place where you can stop just applying online and hearing nothing back and actually start getting the recognition and the inbound activity you've been looking for. Premium is for the person who wants to take it up a level. This is unlimited coaching support. So my trained team of experts, you can reach them anytime by email. There's live sessions with them during the week. They will review all of your content. They will review your posts. They will review your LinkedIn profile. They will do everything you need to make sure that you can get validated, that you're doing all the right things so that you're putting the right brand out there, right? So you don't ever have to fear. I know people sometimes get worried, like, what are people going to say? We have a proven way of doing this, right? So we're going to make sure that you look your very best. And then there's the Elite membership. And very simply, that's working with me. This is one-on-one. I work with you to define your positioning in your offer suite. You get featured on the ProVoice podcast once you graduate. Again, I take you through the steps so that we can get you there. I would never graduate you or make you public unless I thought you weren't going to kill it. We can get you access to brand partnerships. You get priority support. You get weekly office hours with me, unlimited messaging with me, all the things you need to really take it to that next level. And here's the offer, and then I'm going to take questions. Okay. So start popping those questions in the chat for me. If you sign up for any membership level, standard, premium, or elite in the next 48 hours, you are going to get the 3-page UVA report. And this is a biggie, you're going to get a personalized LinkedIn profile review. So what we do is we take a video of your LinkedIn profile and record it and top to bottom tell you what's wrong with it and how to fix it. That video is yours to keep forever. Just those two things alone would cost you $399 or more anyplace else, but we're going to give those to you when you try us. But you've got 48 hours to do that. And I'm telling you, so many people have commented on LinkedIn itself going, I got the profile review over at Work It Daily. Holy moly. Because we're going to show you what you have to do in order to show up in the algorithm. Remember what I said? LinkedIn changed its algorithm. Recruiters are using a very sophisticated AI tool now. If you want to be found by recruiters and get to the top of those 1.1 billion profiles, you have to use LinkedIn correctly. And that is exactly what these personalized reviews will do for you. Plus, we'll show you exactly what to fix. And then inside the program, we'll confirm for you. You can work with us and make sure that everything's perfect. So you can head on over to Work It Daily. You will get an email follow-up about this. But again, it's a 2-day window. And to be clear, I'm going to show to you, I'm always really transparent. We have monthly memberships, we have quarterly memberships, and we have an annual membership for the elite. And you save a lot of money when you sign up quarterly or monthly. You can cancel at any time. You can go into your own system, right? The billing's right there. You can cancel at any time. So you can try us on a monthly basis, but obviously you save a lot of money, 48% when you sign up quarterly for standard and 40% on premium, and even more so when you sign up for elite. So be sure to check those options out because it's pretty significant savings. And we do that because we know that if you want to win, you've got to work it daily. So we'd love to see you in there on a quarterly basis so we can really work with you and maximize your results for you. But again, there's a plan for everybody. All right. Are you ready to monetize your mind? That is the big question that I have for everyone today. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. If not, I'm going to go ahead and put this last slide up and just say this. Hopefully I taught you today that skill security beats job security, right? It's not who you know, it's who knows you. I've said that repeatedly here today. If you want to break free of the golden handcuffs, you've got to start thinking of yourself as an asset and that you've got to monetize your mind. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is you have to be seen. You have to be heard. You want to be in demand. You've got to use your ProVoice. You've got to unlock that UVA, that unique value add, and use that ProVoice in order to be visible. But it's not hard. It's not rocket science because I just showed you. We are teaching people how to do it every single day. We're having a lot of fun doing it. They're having a lot of fun doing it. It's a far more rewarding situation because if you want to win, you've got to work it daily. That's why we say this. That is why my company is named this. If you want to win, you've got to work it daily. And so we're really excited to help you with this and have fun doing it. You deserve it. You know, this is professional development. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, JT, is this something that I can write off? You actually can. This is professional development. Being part of Work It Daily is developing your career. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, which is pretty exciting. It's not just job search materials. This is actually skill development, career development. So be thinking about that. We also have some people who even their employers pay for it, which is pretty cool. If you're not sure which membership type is right for you, I often suggest people start with a lower level membership just to get in there and take advantage of the 48-hour offer. And then once you're inside, you can go to events, you can ask questions, and you can decide for yourself. You can actually upgrade or downgrade in the platform at your own pace. And we have a support team that will help you with it if you can't figure it out. But we have a lot of people that start at one level and say, oh, okay, now I really want to upgrade to the next level. Or, you know, I'm good there. I'm going to downgrade and maintain because we're always doing a lot of really helpful information events. So you can pick your level. And if you have questions, obviously, you can go over to workitdaily.com and message the support team about it as well. When I send out the follow-up email today, you can also respond back to that email with any questions that you have, and the team will be able to answer those for you also. Does that sound good? Yes? Fantastic. All right. Well, if you have questions, I literally hit the 45-minute mark, which was my goal. I didn't want to take up a lot of your time. I'm hoping to see a lot of questions in my direct message. You can message me on LinkedIn. You can go check me out on subs.com and message me there and see how that works. Please watch the recording. Please message us any questions that you have about the event. And certainly, I hope to see you inside Work It Daily. We would really love to take you into the creator economy and help you monetize your mind. I guarantee you, it's going to be a life-changing experience. We'll be sending you more information on that. But otherwise, thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by today and hearing this story. It's an honor and a privilege to work with all my members that are here. So thank you for that as well. And until next time, I'll see y'all soon. Take care, folks.